You fill my heart with joy.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? This your boy C4, and this is like a little series that I thought of called The Dying Industry, and it's just about why video gaming to me is sort of dying. I am a gamer and I do love video games. However, this generation alone, I kind of see video gaming kind of dying. And in these series, I'm just going to explain why I see it that way. In this episode right here, I'm going to be talking about DLC. When I think of DLC, which stands for downloadable content, for those of you not knowing, most of you I'm sure already know. But when I think of DLC, I think of something that adds a longer lifespan to a video game, giving me something that I didn't expect. You know, something that wasn't fully ready when the game was released, or something that the developers thought of later on down the road that would breathe extra life into the game. That's kind of what I see DLC is, keeping me up to date for like sports games and stuff like that, keeping me up to date on rosters and wrestling games and, you know, stuff like that. Adding new modes to certain games that weren't really thought of when the game was released. But that isn't really what DLC is today. You know, a lot of the times we are already told the DLC before the game is even released, which kind of tells me that it could be put on the disc, but instead of the gaming developers actually putting it on the disc, they say, well, we're going to leave it out and we'll charge you for it later. I really don't like that. For example, SmackDown vs. Raw 2011. Okay, we already knew what the DLC consisted of 3-4 months before the game was even released. And in my opinion, that's not downloadable content. That's just leaving out a portion of the game and selling it to us later. You know, back in the day, you used to get a game and you unlocked new characters, costumes, weapons, you know, levels, missions, and stuff like that through beating the game. And you know, beating certain levels, you'll unlock something special. So when you play through it the next time, it's a little bit different. You know, you got a different character or something like that. But now it seems as though they're just charging us for what used to be, you know, unlockables. And that's one thing I don't like about the, you know, these companies that's making the games. Now, I understand it's a money-making business, you know, and I understand they're in it to make money. However, in my personal opinion, you would make a lot more money if you treated your customers, you know, a little bit better than they do now. Companies like EA and Capcom, you know, charging for weapons and charging for, you know, missions that's only like an hour in time, and you paying 800 Microsoft points just for an hour of gameplay, if that. Or, you know, Capcom with coming out with day one DLC where they charging you for multiplayer that's already on the disc, or costumes that should already be on the disc and stuff like that. You know, I just don't think these companies are using DLC the way it was meant to be used. And that's kind of why I don't really support DLC. I'm not saying all DLC is bad. Some DLC is pretty decent, but for the most part, I see DLC get misused a lot. You know, a lot of these companies, they use it as a way to make more cash while giving the consumers less. That's what I see. A lot of games, you know, seem like they left out a portion of a mission, like Assassin's Creed 2. It seemed like they left out a certain portion, or, you know, certain cutscenes, and they said, okay, we'll just take this portion and sell it to them later. You know, for those of you who played Gears of War 2, if you played the Locust scene, You can actually download that for X amount of Microsoft points. I'm not 100% sure. But you can download that scene, and it was already supposed to be in the game. You know, it's just like they have this platform where they can actually breathe extra life into their video games, but instead of using it the way they should use it, it's like they just go about it the greedy, money hungry way. And I really don't like that. And that's kind of why I don't support a lot of DLC. Sure, some things in the DLC packs are cool, but when I look at it from a gamer standpoint and a consumer standpoint, I look at it and I say, wow, really? They really charging me for this? You know? And I'm not a cheap person. I just believe, certain things should be a given. And when you charging me for extra costumes and weapons and, little silly stuff like that, I don't like it. And I don't take it well. I just wish these companies would take DLC a little more seriously instead of just throwing in a couple costumes or a couple characters and stuff like that, and bring back unlockables that actually matter, And that's just my view on DLC.